Hello again, you're watching Everard Junction, and today's going to be a relatively short update. I'm just going to show you a couple of things that I have been doing over the last month or two. Okay, so first of all, apologies for not putting a video up recently. It's been summertime over here, so I had some nice weather recently, makes a nice change, so I've been out and about doing some things other than the railway. Up here it has just been too hot. However, in the evenings and a couple of weekends where it has been a bit cooler, and especially now we're coming into the autumn and it's getting a bit cooler now, I've been coming back up here and I've started to resume work back on the TMD side of the layout. Okay, so the first thing that's changed really since my last update, it did feature in the last running video, however I didn't talk about it too much, is the addition of the lighting in the town scene. These are all the street lights made by Kite Lights. You can get them in about a pack of 10, and they're just grain of wheat bulbs and a little sort of metal standing that resembles a street light. They came out quite nice and look pretty good. They are painted white. I'm tempted to paint them a grey colour, see how they look. Not sure how they look white at the moment, but they're working pretty reliably. All the wiring is tethered and secured underneath the town scene, so it doesn't cause any problems with the trains as they pass underneath. I've also done some more work on the cars. This is not the final position by any means where all the cars are going to be. It's far too congested, but however they are all here just so I can show you them fairly easily in the same sort of space. So the first time round I repainted a couple of cars, such as this Golf, that Cortina, and some of the other cars I just gave them a coat of matte varnish and weathered them up a little bit and just left them as they were. But there's a limited range of colours that these cars come in, and I've particularly liked the new model of the Morris Marina that Oxford Diecast are doing, so I bought another two and I repainted those. So here we've got a nice white Marina, stripped it all back, put a driver in it, painted it white, and then painted all the detail and everything back on the front. It's come out really well. I did that to a couple of other cars as well, so I've made some ordinary Escorts again using the XR3i model. So there's a red Escort there, I've got a yellow one further back. There's another Marina over there, another dirty one by the junction, repainted blue. A couple of other Escorts and things. I also repainted some of the Austin Princesses that Oxford now do. They only do them in red, and I think they do another one in yellow. So I've got a blue one, and I thought I'd do a purple one here. I also repainted a model of the Triumph 2000 in green. I thought the yellow was a bit garish, although it was a colour that you could get the car in. I've got a few more vans and things downstairs that will be weathered up and brought up onto the layout. But for now I'm quite happy with the spread of cars. I just need to wait for Oxford to release some more varied vehicles. I don't want to keep buying the same car and just repainting it, because it gets a bit boring after a while looking at the same car. But there's a couple of things they're bringing out, in particular the Mark 1 Fiesta, which I'll certainly be picking up a few of and giving those some repainting and weathering. Over here, you saw this briefly in the last video. This is the latest addition to the layout. It's yet another Bachmann 47. It brings my total of 47s up to 5 now. This particular 47 is numbered 834. And its name is Firefly. It was generally seen in ordinary service, although it also used to haul the Royal Train, hence the white wheels and the extra bits of detail that have been added onto the model, as well as the etched plates and everything. That's a proper etched plate that comes with the model. It's a real pain in the arse to fit, because it's so delicate and so small, but I've just put it on there with some double-sided tape. And as usual, I've given the model my sort of standard weathering that I do for passenger locos, which is generally give the body a coat of matte varnish, do the roof, and do the underframe, and then just leave it. So I've tried to keep it nice and clean, and it looks pretty good. I've added a touch of silver to the backs of the buffers on the buffer shafts, just to make them look a little bit more realistic. Again, because this train was tarted up a little bit to haul the Royal Train, it does have silver buffers. Most 47s would have just had black buffers at this point because of the grime. But as I say, this loco was refurbished and tarted up a little bit to haul the Royal Train in the 80s. It then transferred into EWS ownership, I believe, and I think it still exists to this day. I'm sure someone will correct me if it doesn't, but I think it's still around. Another project I've been working on quite a bit is the layout signalling. I've been trying to get some more of the circuit boards made after perfecting the prototype I installed over here. Pleased to say that I've got the circuit how I want it, and it works quite well now, with various different programs on it depending on what sort of signal I've got them attached to. So I've started making some more of those and getting some more signals on the layout. The signals I'm using are a mix of the Traintronics signals that you've seen before, and I also have some of the Berko and Eckon kit signals, which are produced by Online Models Limited. Not too long ago I was approached by James. James is the production manager at Online Models Limited, and he very kindly offered to give me a couple of the Berko and the Eckon signals for me to put up on the layout and show to you guys. I'm really pleased with them, very impressed, so big thanks James for that. If you're watching this, they really are good quality signals, very impressed with them. The problem I had with the Traintronics ones is that they suffer from a bit of light bleed. It's not such a sort of clear-cut light. It's pretty good, and I highly recommend the Traintronics signals. I still use them, but the Berko ones are just, and the Berko and the Eckon ones are just a little bit. They're just a little bit better, and they're a little bit nicer to look at. They've got a bit of extra detail on them. I've got one installed over here, so I'm going to have a proper look at it. Here's a closer look at one of the signals. This is a Berko signal, and it's the 4-aspect variety, one of the ones that was very kindly given to me by James from Online Models Limited. And it's really nicely put together. It's got a metal post, and then the other detailing parts of the signal are largely made of plastic, and all come pre-attached if you buy the Berko variety. The Eckon signals are a kit built, and you get lots of detail and stuff in those, and you can put those together. But in terms of my layout, I don't have a huge amount of time to spend ages and ages building all sorts of little bits and pieces. So I went for the Berko ones. James very kindly sent me a couple over, as well as an Eckon one that he very kindly got his guys to put together for me. And as you can see from the shot here, they don't suffer from the light bleed that does seem to be a tendency with the Traintronics ones. So I'll certainly be getting some more of these in the future to put in other places on the layout. But for now, I've got so many to do. It's going to take me ages to get all the circuits built and wired up. This is one of the few that is now installed, but it is going to take me a while to get the rest done. Here's just a quick shot of the signal at night. You can see that the lighting is very, very clear. And if I can try and trip the sensor, there you go. So that's my little infrared sensor in the track there, just detecting the presence of my hand. And you can see it's now gone red, and again there's no light bleed. Very clear. If we move over to the Traintronics one, you can see it's not quite so clear cut. You can see there's a lot of light bleed going on over there. They still look pretty good, but these Berko ones are certainly much nicer. So one of the other things I have been doing is adding in some of the additional groundwork and scenery. This area has seen a lot of activity over the last few months and weeks, and some of the scenery in places was beginning to look a little bit tired, especially after I added some new sections in. They made the old sections look a little bit rubbish. So I've redone a lot of the grass in places down here, particularly in the foreground. The grass was a little bit bare, and I thought it was a little bit too green, so I've gone over it again. The existing grass is still there. I've just added to it with the woodland scenics grasses, and I've come up with a colour mix that I really like. That's a mixture of the summer blend and the sort of sand glow autumn blend that you can get. The two of those together gets quite a nice sort of late summer grassy effect, which is what I'm trying to achieve. I've also made this area over here just look a little bit nicer. We've got some shrubs and things in the corner and by the wall, a few bits and pieces. You can see one of the wires just hanging down for the lighting there. I haven't quite finished securing everything just yet. I've redone some of the patches of grass in the middles of the tracks down here. Typically locos would be travelling at very low speed down here, so it gives the opportunity for grass and other foliage to encroach on the line and grow without being damaged. On the main line in a few places there's a little bit of grass. You can see there's some there. There's also a bit further up, and there's a couple of patches you can see just there, just in places, just to make things look a little bit different. Coming over to the end, this area was always very bare. Never really knew what to do with it. It was always a troublesome corner. I had difficulty filling it. Regular viewers remember I originally had a dual carriageway that was going to come over, but that was going to obscure the engine shed, and it was quite wide and it took up a lot of space, and it wasn't working for me. So after quite a lot of fiddling around and deciding what I wanted to do, what I've done is I have made this sort of dead-end side road that just goes around the back of these two warehouses. I'm going to be taking off the compact logo and adding another Mothercare logo on there, as if this is the back of a Mothercare distribution centre. That company was quite big in the late 1980s, early 1990s, and they had a lot of trucks and vehicles across the country in various distribution centres. So I think I'll try and make a little depot out of that. I've added a retaining wall in. It looks quite fresh at the moment, needs a little bit of paint adding to it and dulling down. I've faded the brickwork, but it's still a little bright. A little bit of foliage down there. Redone all the grass in this area, made it look a bit more patchy, a bit more interesting. And I've sort of just blended things in with the engine shed, so you can see the whole scene sort of works. Need to sort out around there, but that's another project. But for now I'm quite happy. The trains actually look like they disappear into some scenery. The bridge itself, that will be another one of these girders. I've got one downstairs already built, but I'm going to experiment with some salt weathering that I'm going to try and do to try and get the effect of the really sort of peeled paint that you get on these rusty bridge girders. I've seen a couple of videos of the salt weathering technique being used to great effect, so I think I'll check a few of those out a little bit more and give that a go and see how it looks, and then that'll cover up the board where you can see the road, and just tidy the area up. So that's pretty much everything I've been doing over the last month or two. As I said before, the weather's been very nice up here, so I haven't really had the opportunity to get much done due to the heat. I've been out and about and doing other things. So I'm looking forward to getting back into the layout in the next few months over the coming autumn, where the temperature will be quite acceptable for doing various things. As you can see, you've got more signals installed on this side as well. Still, that's going to be one of the major projects I think for the next few months, is to get the rest of those installed.